Hello, 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 and welcome. So for those of you that joined us last week on our webinar, specifically about Profit First as a service offering for accountants, we spoke about the fact that we have a live panel this week with some amazing Profit First professionals who are also accountants too. And what I'm going to do is just quickly introduce who we are and what we do, and then we'll jump right in and get to the nitty-gritty. So meet our panel today. Today, I will be hosting this panel. I'm the CEO of Profit First Australia and New Zealand, and we have the lovely Nadine. Nadine, would you like to just say hi, where you're located and what you do?
Hi, I'm Nadine. I'm in Perth, up in the hills. I had my business for 20 years, been with Profit First for, I'm thinking it must be 6 years now. Yeah, all accounting and small businesses really, so loving it.
Amazing. Thanks, Nadine. We also have Thomas here with us. Thomas, please introduce yourself.
Yeah, hi, Thomas Blackwell. I run a business. My business run out of Melbourne CBD, but I do most of my work out of Phillip Island where I'm based. So I moved out after COVID and or during COVID, could be locked down in Melbourne or out in the beach house. So we've moved down here permanently. And I've been working with the Profits First for about, I think nearly 3 years. I've just done my recertification for 3 years. So
that's it.
Yeah, so that's So and then it's a mix, as I said, of Profits First, small business, and so that's how I run mine.
Beautiful. And Jody, where are you calling in from?
I'm calling in from Indonesia today. So my business is Northwest Accountancy, and we're based in Karratha in the north of Western Australia. And using the Profit First methodology and everything I've learnt from Profit First along the years, I've been able to take myself away from the actual business, but still working in the business as well. So love Profit First, love how it's all panning out for my business plus clients. So thanks for having me here, because it's a great opportunity to share all my love for Profit First.
Yay, and we love that. So thank you so much for being here. All right, I'm going to put this slide down so that you can see our faces even better when we go into the questioning around things. So the first question, so these are questions that we get asked from people, other accountants who are considering whether or not Profit First really does help their clients and how they can possibly integrate it in their own businesses to offer it as a service. And so I thought, rather than me telling them how to do it, that we could hear from other people that are living it. And so I'd love to talk more about the first question being how you actually came to be a Profit First professional. So Thomas, I'm going to jump in with you first, if you don't mind. How did you become a Profit First professional?
Well, basically it was something that started by basically me reading the book and then applying it in my own business first. So basically, before I even knew that there was a professional organisation for it, so read the book in a weekend. I was over in Thailand and just sort of devoured the book, and then changed the shape of how I ran my business from pretty much from the next Monday, basically. And then applied it for about 3-4 months in my business, and then applied it. Basically, then found out while I was looking for that there's the organisation to become professional for it. So, and then from there we basically joined in.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. And just before I continue on to ask the other panelists this same question, I just want to let anyone who's watching this live or in the replay, just pop any questions that you might have in the comments, because we will be answering anything outside of what I'm already asking. And we're open to any questions, right, gang? Mm-hmm. Nothing's off limits when it comes to Profit First. All right. So far, I love that. Jody, how did you become a Profit First professional?
So I have been teaching money management, mostly for couples and families, for about 7 or 8 years, and had a suite of resources that I was going out and teaching small workshops. And I started leveling up in my business and offering training for bookkeepers as well. So I love presenting and training. And one of the bookkeepers that I had in one of the classes I was teaching said, "Oh, what you're teaching here is very similar to Profit First." I'm like, Okay, that sounds cool. So she goes, you should reach out to Profit First Australia and see what they do. And so without reading the book, without knowing anything about what Profit First was, I made a call with Laura and realized that it's such synchronicity between what I was teaching families and couples to how we could do the same thing for my businesses. And I went, this is a no-brainer. This is exactly what I want to do to help our small business clients out. So pretty much joined, I think I met with Laura in March, late March or April, joined up in May and was certified in November of 2019. So
Yeah.
from then was like, let's go.
I love that. And I love how everyone comes at it from a different angle. So it's very common for someone to have read the book themselves and then gone, oh, there's actually a professional organization on this. And then other people, it's like, hold up, I'm ready. Yes, it works. Let's do it. So thanks for sharing that. Nadine, what about you? Because you've been a Profit First professional for nearly 6 years. So how did you come across it?
Yeah, so when I came across it, it was still American based. We didn't have our lovely Laura here in Australia running us and guiding us. I think I was put onto it by a colleague who I was doing some work with at the time and suggested I read the book, knowing that there had to be something better for clients than let's just do our profit and loss. And I've seen it all through over the years. And yeah, so then it was just a no-brainer for me because it was so simple to implement and then to help people get hold of their money. It was so much easier. It was just a no-brainer for me. And I trained through America, then transferred over.
There you go. See, because we've been in Australia and New Zealand now for 5 years, which feels like just yesterday that happened, but it's 5 years. So before that, people could get certified over in the US, and yeah, it's definitely different now. I love our community here. What also comes up for people that are considering either implementing Profit First in their own business or are looking to integrate a Profit First service to help their clients, they ask, well, how do you offer it? What are the things that you do? And just as I like to say in all of our calls, it depends. And so I thought I'd ask each of you how you actually offer the Profit First services. And Jody, let's start with you because you attack it from a slightly different way. So do you want to let us know how you offer Profit First?
Yeah, so I've got a couple of different ways. The first being a training course, which is a DIY that people can log in and watch all the videos, implement themselves, and have some Q&A sessions as a group that we can join and ask questions and support. And then the other one, my favorite way of offering it is a 6-session implementation step-by-step guide where we meet up 6 times to go and make sure that all of the steps are ready, they're happening, and those first transfers are done. And then we check in after that and make sure that everybody's happy. So it's like I said, it's an easy, like Nadine said, it's simple to implement. So we get it off the ground as quick as possible. Sometimes they're weekly meetings, sometimes they're fortnightly, but most of our clients, as soon as they've got that first transfer under the belt, they're like, this is great. It's
awesome. Amazing. And so on that basis, so that's 2 different ways. One's for the DIY and the other is the guided hand-holding experience. What are some of the results that you've seen from that, Jody?
Yeah, my favorite client who recommends it to everybody, her favorite thing to say is she's stopped thinking about money. So she has the systems and the routines in place now so that she knows she does her transfers on Friday, she pays all of her bills and payroll on Monday. She just doesn't have to think about money for the whole rest of the week. And it's been such a relief for her to not have to stress about money every day, every hour of every week. She had huge ATO bills and has been able to pay them all off.
Nice.
And lots of my clients have either had ATO, superannuation, or loans that they've worked on to pay off as well. So, yeah, the the main outcome is just that peace of mind. And then the cash
Absolutely.
comes second.
I love that. How many of us would love to be able to not think about money if everything's working? So I think that's the ideal outcome for sure. Thomas, what about you? How are you currently offering Profit First services in your business?
So I solely do mine through clients of mine that are accounting clients. So they're accounting clients. So they either come together or accounting clients that we've been developed as part of the advisory services. So we've sort of built it up over time. So I suppose in that one way, it's more traditional side for the guys that are probably coming in that already had an accounting base, and it was more about providing the value-added service. And so that's sort of a big part of the difference with that. But then I don't take on, a little bit different to Jody, is I don't take on Profit First clients that aren't my accounting clients. So I don't offer it as a standalone service, whereas others do. Why I found that, what that's sort of done for me is totally change the communication basis that you have with guys. So rather than being an annual or a quarterly basis, getting that fortnightly or monthly recurring communication has been a big part of it. So that's how I offer mine. So I said it's a little bit different to Jody's, more coming from a traditional base and then altering as an add-on service.
And I love that, because the perception is often that when you get trained in the, Profit First and become a Profit First professional, then you're going to be told that you must do it in this way and it has to be rolled out in that way. And it's actually not the case. And I love the fact that, Thomas, you've said it's actually different to what Jody does, because it does highlight that you're the expert in your own business. So therefore you're going to serve your clients in the way that it works. And I know, like in our accounting business, to move from an annual to a weekly or a fortnightly is an absolute game changer for what businesses can do and what they can get out of, their goals and how their life is and that sort of thing. So I absolutely love that. What about you, Nadine? How do you offer the Profit First services in your business?
Yeah, so I offer it in a couple of ways. I do the standalone Profit First one-on-ones, as well as incorporating it into existing clients. Also do some workshops just to give them the introduction, the feel for it, and then they can either go away and do it themselves or then follow on with some more coaching and bits and pieces after that. So I kind of offer a mixture because every client's different and their needs are different. So
yeah, and I love that. So as you can see from here today, we've got hand-holding, DIY, workshops, and then value-add services. And really the possibility of how Profit First can be implemented or how an accountant can integrate it into the business is different. And it depends very much on how you want to set your business up and how this serves your clients really well. So Nadine, question for you. What is one of the best results that you've seen for clients that you've worked with the implementation of Profit First?
Paying off a huge amount of debt within a short period of time.
Okay, awesome.
I think I had one, close to $50,000 over 6 months that they'd been struggling to pay off. I think it was about that. And then just obviously streamlined everything for them, because once they had those procedures in place with their money, they were able to see the results quickly. So it was like a snowball effect. They wanted to get rid of all this debt. They could then see the potential of having all this extra free money, essentially, once it was all gone. So, that was one of my biggest ones.
Awesome. I love that. What about you, Thomas? What are some of the wins that you've seen?
It's, as you said, the debt thing is the thing, but I think a bigger one has been a lot of clients becoming really conscious about how they spend their money and focusing on the bottom line. So my biggest result overall was I had a $5 million turnover company, which is the other thing about Profit First, it can be worked on regardless of the size of the business.
Yes.
But with him, it was just working with him, you move that needle, right? We moved that needle 5%, right? He triples his income, right? So just by a relatively small amount of money, but it's just being conscious about the spending. So that's, I suppose, the big dollar change, right? So we did that in 3 months, right? He went from earning $20,000 a month to earning $60,000 a month, just like that, just about being conscious with his money. So that's, I suppose, the biggest financial win I've had. I think what's been even better really is with some of the small guys, the emotional change, which is quite often what happens is, you said when they get the ATO and the super stuff, is it becomes all consuming and becomes overwhelmed. So realistically, probably my best one was a little guy earns $300,000-$400,000 a year turnover. So he's just a coaching, like a lifestyle sort of coach, but getting his control over his money, which taking control not only of what's in the business, what's in the personal side, and expanding it out that whole way. But that is probably the biggest transformation that I've had. So the financial side, it might have been a difference of maybe 60 or 80,000 over the year compared to the other guy's 60 or 80,000 per month. But the emotional change from this that this guy had has probably been the best thing. And said it was just really bringing it down, reducing that overwhelm, which is what Jody said before, was that it becomes really simple that, okay, the money stays in the bank account, we do our allocations, we pay all the bills, then we don't think about it for next week. Then we can just go out and focus on the business. And then Friday comes
on the
around,
bits that they love.
Yeah, exactly. So that, I think, has been more successful than even the money side. It was, for some, just the emotional changes that people can have.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I think that to go from completely stressed out and not sleeping, or to feeling like you're constantly chasing your tail to deal with something that's just all consuming, to then that that comes with not having to worry, is really priceless and changes lives. It doesn't just change the business, it changes the family, it changes the dynamics. It has that ripple effect that goes out into the community, which I think is just freaking amazing. And another thing that a lot of people don't realize, when you become a Profit First professional, you need to implement it in your own business yourself. And for a couple of reasons. One, we want to walk the talk as Profit First professionals, but also no one is perfect when it comes to how they do things in their business. And just because we've been doing it one way for a long time, it doesn't mean it is the best way. And so having to implement the system yourself, and we're human, we have stuff that happens in our life that puts us in situations where some of it may be out of our control, and having the experience of implementing it ourselves is quite the experience sometimes. And I know the surprise that comes from Profit First professionals who didn't think it would have such a big impact on their own businesses that really have. And so if you don't mind answering this question, I'd love sort of like a sneak peek behind the curtains as to what you have seen in your own business through your own implementation. So Jody, how about you get started?
Sure. When pre-Profit First, we were very much a traditional tax accounting firm who would earn a bucket load of money in July through October, because we were doing lots of tax returns. And then we'd take it to profit distribution, and then by February, March, we'd run out of money. So we'd then start drawing down on our overdraft. And by the end of June, we'd maxed out our overdraft and tried to be as frugal as we could, and waited until that first week in July where we could start offering tax returns again and make more money, pay back the overdraft, take out profits, and then it would just be a vicious cycle. So for over 15 years, that's what happened in my business. Overdraft, pay it back, take money. So it wasn't very intentional, and we certainly had no idea how much percentage profit we were making. We just saw money in the bank account and went, oh, that's ours. And so that was like just that cycle of feast and famine, feast and famine, feast and famine every single year. Was as soon as I read the book and I went, we don't have to be feast and famine anymore. And I went, cool. So implemented Profit First. And by the time we got to the next June, so we started implementing April, May. By the time we got to the next June, we had all the overdraft was paid off. We had no overdraft at the end of June on this following year. Kept it there for the safety net, of course, and closed it the following year. So we did not use our overdraft the year after we started with Profit First. So that was $100,000 overdraft, by the way. That's a lot of money. And represented about 10% of our income for the year. So it was huge amount of overdraft that we've been able to cut off. Now using Profit First, we have a few different accounts to what's in the book, which is awesome. My favorite account is called the community account. So we put 1% of our income into our community bank account every week, and this gets used for building community. So building community in our local area where our office is based. So any not-for-profits who want some fundraising done, they can put an application in and we'll use the money from the community funds to help build our community that way. We also use it for our staff community as well. So any staff gatherings that we have, lunches or end of year parties that we have is all paid out of our community account. So that's the most fun thing that we have done with our Profit First allocations, is actually having that money set aside for play and for giving back. The final thing is having a wages account. So every year for the past 20 years of running my business, I've always been stressed about wages and paying wages. So now we've got a dedicated net wages bank account, which means that money goes into that to know that I can pay payroll on payday. Any time of the year I can see how many payrolls in advance I've already got saved. Nice. So at this time of year, so February is generally one of our quieter years, I've got 2.5 pays sitting here already ready to go. So usually by February, we've got $0 in the bank, back pre-Profit First. Now I know that without fail, I can afford payroll for another 2.5 pays, which is just the burden of that stress of not knowing where that next dollar is coming from. Can we afford to pay pays? Who's more important? Is this bill more important, or are my staff more important? Should I stop paying the tax office? Should I just give it a few more days and set a payment plan for that? Or do I pay my staff? That internal questioning doesn't happen anymore. So having that clarity of knowing that I've got enough for staff means that everything else just ticks along as normal.
I love that. They're 3 massive wins right there. Huge. And thank you for sharing so honestly about it, because, you know, it is hard to go in that feast and famine cycle, and you are definitely not alone in that. And accounting businesses absolutely have the influx of funds, and then it can be really quiet. So, wow. How are you feeling now?
I love it. Scream it from the rooftops. Like every chance I get, I will tell people how it's impacted our business, how it's impacted my mindset, and encourage them to implement it themselves, because it's just, huge game changer.
Wow. Thanks so much, Jody. What about you, Thomas? What has been your learnings?
Yeah, as I said before, so I sort of started this reasonably early, sort of within the business. So a big part of that, again, moving away from the feast and famine stuff, but having these large clients based on the Profit First thing is I've got monthly fee subscription based things. So probably 75 to 80% of my income's recurring on a monthly basis, which then makes it really easy to budget for your payroll, budget for expenses, budget for my my income, right, and my profit as well. So that's probably the biggest thing, is that doing the Profits First made that advisory side really important, which made that subscription model very important, which then drove everything, which makes everything a lot easier to run the business. So I said, we were talking with Jody about February being a feast and famine. I'm billing 90% of the amount in February as I do in August. So it makes it a lot easier to manage for everything. So it's been really, that was probably that change. And then, as Jody said, it's just then being about the conscious side about where the money goes. It makes it really simple. And as you said, a big part of that is that wages. So I take that out off the top, that's as I said, completely separate account for myself. For the net wages, that's just like Jody has. And then I separate out my wages and super separately as well. So I keep out wages and super, the staff, then the tax for myself. So that's probably the additional that compared to others. So I'm separating out, Tom's tax, my employee's tax, and then, the GST and super. So that's just, that's probably a little bit of a change, that I've implemented myself.
Yeah. And from an early, I have to say, I really wish that I had come across Profit First when I was starting my business, because it sets you up to make really great decisions from the beginning. And so I love that, Thomas, you've shared that as it was earlier on, you got to do these things and make these decisions that made your life easier on an ongoing basis. And what I've loved about the share as well is that you have modified it to how you need to get that clarity. So I love that.
Yeah. And I suppose a reflection on that as well is I never got into that. I've never had a business overdraft. I don't have a business credit card. We've had nil debt in the company since the beginning, basically. Yes. We've got the reserve, we're sitting on the reserves there, and then it's made decisions are made a lot easier. And then I'm sure you go through, when you have things that it's very black and white when I hire staff, right? We've got the spreadsheets as part of what we do here. It's very black and white when the next staff member comes on. It's very black and white when the next upgrades come to the system. It's very black and white, which runs through everything, which makes your decision-making a lot easier. And also managing your sales funnel becomes a lot easier when you know what you got working on there, which is, I've just had a message from in the chat there. That was probably a big difference about before and after Profit First was management of the sales channel, because we knew what resources we had.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you, Abraham, for your question in here. What he wrote was, could you please go deeper? What was the life experience like without Profit First? So what is the transformation that makes it uniquely different from other similar systems out there? And so I think, Jody, you touched on that in terms of what your life was like before and what it is afterwards. And I love that, Thomas, you've shared how it has been for you because you implemented it from the beginning. And Dean, I'd love to know, what was life like without Profit First and then afterwards?
Stressful and peaceful. Probably would be the 2 words.
In 2 words.
So as Jody said, it is the feast and famine in accounting. It's most years. So you were robbing Peter to pay Paul at this quieter time of year if you haven't put your money aside and done all the right things. And we're all human. Yes, we know it all, but do we actually implement it? No, because there wasn't an easy way that was straightforward and in your face to do it. And because you're doing it regularly, it's, it was a consistency. It was a habit. So you're changing what you were doing. So, it was, where's the money coming from this week to pay the staff or to do this or to do that? Then once it's implemented, you can start seeing the changes. It doesn't happen overnight, but it does happen. And so just peace of mind knowing that the money's there to pay the staff or to do this or what you need it for at that point in time. And streamlining everything. As Thomas said, your sales funnel, having your processes in place, because you suddenly, your mind's so much clearer because you're not fogged up with money issues and things like that. You can actually start focusing more on other parts of your business and your clients because you've got that taken care of.
Absolutely. And I love that. So I'm going to share for a second as to what it was like for me. So whilst I am the CEO of Profit First Professionals Australia and New Zealand, I also run multiple businesses, one of them being an accounting firm and a bookkeeping business before that with consulting. And the biggest thing, I implemented Profit First and I learned through Mike, and I have been a Profit First professional myself since I think the beginning of Profit First. And what I found was, and this is where a lot of people tend to think that, well, if you're profitable, you don't need Profit First. And I disagree. And I did have a profitable business, and yes, cash flow was okay. It wasn't as if I was trying to find funds that weren't there and that sort of thing. I could definitely make better decisions. That goes without a doubt. But what it allowed me to do was look at, all right, well, I've got the purpose for each of the funds. Where's my gap? Like, here I was striving for this income goal that felt so big and huge. When I implemented Profit First, I realized that the gap was actually quite small, and how easy and doable that was to get to that revenue level, which would then bring my idea of business financial freedom. And so it wasn't even about the recuperating for that business anyway, the recuperating of getting myself into a difficult situation or dealing with the feast and famine because we had the recurring fees and that sort of thing. But it was more about, instead of striving for this, goal because that sounds great and it should just bring surplus, it was like, oh, I actually, based on these percentages, need about $20,000 more, and it's going to make everything work. And how much easier does that feel to this goal that could be hundreds of thousands of dollars more than what that is? And it really brought out the thinking outside of the box for me as to, okay, so how can we get that done? And how can we, help our clients more? How can we serve them without having to get new clients or change things and that sort of stuff? And so it does more than just fix problems. It allows you to really consider what else is possible. And I don't know if any of you have experienced that. And if you have, feel free to jump in and share your thoughts. But yeah, we tend to, in the public, think that Profit First just fixes problems, and it doesn't. So love that.
I want to jump in there and say the percentages for some business owners, having everything broken down as percentages instead of dollar figures, just gives them that, I can save for Christmas starting in February, but it's incremental changes. It's a couple of percent at a time rather than having this dollar figure in mind. And so the way I explain with the percentages is, when you have those awesome months, you're topping up all of the accounts. And then if you do happen to have a not so great month, it's okay, because the funds are still in all of those bank accounts. And so the percentages being the crux of what Profit First is all about in relation to the allocation of money is like, makes sense, rather than just transferring dollar amounts out, which is what we used to advise in the old days.
Yeah, totally. And that's so true. So thank you for highlighting that. With even that shift from dollar to percentage does make it feel so much easier, and it's that sustainable change over time which makes that work. And really it's the definition of where are the areas that you're challenged and where are the areas that you're wanting to focus. So like the investment into the business or the marketing costs or whatever it is, the stuff that you want to be able to measure return on investment on, separating that out and having a percentage to then see what flows gives such better information in real time, not in a reactive way. So I absolutely love that. So last couple of questions for you all. For people that are considering becoming a Profit First professional, what are some of the things that you love about the membership or about being a Profit First professional? Or do you have a recommendation? So you can answer this in any way that suits you. So either something that you love, what your experience of being a PFP has been like, or a recommendation for someone considering it. What should they consider? So Nadine, put you on the spot and ask you.
Yes. Look, they're just a big family, really. The annual conference, oh my God, they are amazing. I'm so glad we're back live and in person. So much more fun. And you're all coming to the SOP in Perth this year. It's even better, finally. But the support, the resources, if any of us are having an issue with something, Laura's only a phone call away, or there's people out there who are just ready to jump on and give you a hand and give you guidance and advice. The amount of resources that Laura and I guess everybody has put into the background of what's available for us. It's just such a lovely little community that we have, that it's so supportive, that, yeah. That's mine.
Awesome. Thank you. I love that. What about you, Thomas?
My best thing that I probably get out of it is probably information that you're able to use for your advertising and your, for your sales funnel thing that can be turned on and off again. So a lot of it, is about giving out information, which they've done a lot of work in the background, which you can use and then repurpose for your own work. So, just the instant profit assessment, for example, or there's other, short videos where you're just applying it in your own business. So, which you use, we use at the moment, at different times when you really need to work on that funnel, the sales side of what you're using. There's things to really push, and then it's all high value add, right? So it does move you away from competing on price for a tax return, right? So it moves you away from that client space, the advisory space, and gives you something that actually does make a difference in people's businesses if it's applied properly. And as I said, but there's different tools which are not implied. The book, as I said, discussed earlier about the employment tools and that sort of stuff. So working out when to hire the next staff, right? Which is great for you as well as for your clients, right? So that's something critical. I use my own business, let alone what you're actually telling other people.
I love that, and it's so true. It's like you can use it for yourself and your clients. It's that twofold. Love it. Awesome. Jody, what about you?
Oh, I have so much. So the community is one of the biggest things I get out of Profit First. So there's weekly meetings that you can attend where you get to share what you're doing, get to celebrate with everybody, but also have that opportunity to ask questions and get feedback from the larger group, which I absolutely love. And then it makes me feel like I'm not running my business all on my own. So for many, many years, it felt like I was just this one person running a business and had no support from anyone, where Profit First has come in and wrapped me around like a great big hug. Like Nadine said, there's so many resources to help me build my own business that I can then also use to help other clients, help my clients with running their business as well. So the community is definitely a big part. And I'm a mastery member as well. So I've got the broader community of Profit First, where there's about 60 of us. And then Mastery has 10 of us. So 10 of us who get together on a regular basis, who share more, who help build each other up, who absolutely go into bat for each other and really share intimate things. And it's just a whole load of fun to be a part of a group that will help me for anything that I want to help with. So yeah, it's a big family, and yeah, love being part of it.
Thanks so much. And really, we spend a lot of our time, so myself and the team here, building resources that are dynamic to what we're seeing out in the world. So, and because I still work in Profit First with my clients that I've had for many years, it's not just a theoretical thing. It is actually understanding what's happening for people and that sort of stuff. So resources then get created and rolled out to the membership as needed. And we're listen to what our members say as well. Like any feedback that we get, we try and take it on board. We can then, if there's more support that's needed or a particular resource and that sort of stuff. And I guess we have heart, we really care, because it is about the impact to ourselves, to our businesses, and to the world. And we spoke about that ripple effect at the beginning. So of course I had to mention that. It's just something that's there that I had to say. Did anyone have anything that they wanted to say before we wind up our panel? Just do it would be the thing.
The one comment I'd have is just about the increased stickiness of your clients. When you've successfully implemented here. So the clients that we've successfully implemented, we've got 100% retention rate, and
Nice.
I can't see that changing, to be honest. Especially like I said, once you develop it, becomes a business, then it applies in their personal lives as well. And then you're that intertwined, you're that valued as an advisor, that stickiness is really high, is really, really high. So that's just the one comment that I'd take out with you when you're talking the reasons to use it is it's about, your business becomes much more valuable when you're using it because your stickiness, your clients is much higher. You're charging premiums but providing extra value. So, which I said, all adds into the value of your business. So that's my one comment.
Absolutely. And it's so important. Thank you so much, Thomas, for sharing that. So if anyone's watching this or watching the replay, in the comments, we'll be leaving 2 different links. One link is if you're wanting to ask more questions around how does it fit in your business, what does it look like, or anything else that you don't feel has quite been answered here, or you would like it to be looked at based on your clients and what you're trying to achieve, then feel free to click on the Q&A call link that'll be going into the comments. If you have heard this and have been following us for some time, because I do know that happens with accountants and bookkeepers in particular, and you're ready to really jump in and start helping your clients in a really meaningful way, as well as earning premium fees whilst making that impact, then feel free to click on the link that's going into the comments. That is for an interview call. That call there is where we make sure that it's the right fit for you. It's not about just anyone signing up. It's about how you're going to help people, how we can help you do that. And of course, any questions that come up. And yeah, so feel free to do that. Thank you all so much for being here. I really, really appreciate you sharing so openly and honestly about your own experiences and what it's been like. And it's been great to see the variety of what it is that you do, as well as how long you've each been members and what you're doing to help your clients. So thank you all so much for being here. And I'm sure if anyone has specific questions for Nadine, Jody, or Thomas, we do have the directory on our website, and I'm sure they'd be happy to answer anything as well. Or if you have clicked with anything that they're saying and would like them to support you in implementing Profit First, then please reach out to them, or you can reach out to us and just request them, and we can set you up to work together. So yeah, thank you all so much. Have a great day, and I will see you all online soon.